I told you they loved me. I told you they wanted me.
I really don't think you needed anything else going to your head like this.
The tribe has spoken, brother.
Yeah, I know they're all asking for you.
And you tried to get rid of me.
I know you haven't been there for a couple weeks.
And they all wanted me.
But you're back now.
And damn right I'm back. What did I miss, baby?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really expect to be talking about any of this. When I decided to create this gaming news show...
I think you mean we?
When we decided to create this gaming news show,
that's much better.
I thought we were going to be looking at games early, looking at game reviews, talking about what the best games in the industry are.
Then what are we talking about?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about a kidnapping in esports. No, you didn't hear that wrong.
No way.
Yeah, and then we're going to be talking about a multi-million-dollar lawsuit from developers and publishers.
Now, are we just talking about gossip? Are we spilling the tea?
Oh yeah, we're also going to be talking about Donkey Kong. So there is always Donkey Kong. But I guess when you have something like the weekly reload, that is what you get. This might be one of, if not the wildest story ever to come out of esports. Someone by the name of Black Ray, who was a player for the Rainbow Six team in Osaka, has been arrested. They were arrested on July 16th for kidnapping, coercion, and quite literally torture. The person that they kidnapped was a 30-year-old man who was an interior contractor on one building. Now, this was a group of 6 people who were all doing this together, and one of them was Black Ray from the Rainbow Six team. So he and these 6 other men have been accused of torturing the individual, pouring boiling water on him, beating him with a hammer, stabbing him with a screwdriver, and burning him with a heated up frying pan. They also extorted about $13,000 US, and the craziest part about this is this happened between February and April. The man was held hostage for 3 months, and during this time, Black Ray, one of the men who was doing these crazy, ridiculous things, was also competing on the Rainbow Six circuit live at the exact same time. So while you were watching him on screen, at the same time, he was holding a man hostage, and that guy was being tortured, extorted, and probably many worse things as well. So yeah, that's one way to start off the weekly reload. But if you don't know what this show is, this is where you can get all your gaming news every single week, every single Sunday. We bring you heated stories like that, but that's not the only one we got this week. Because if you were gonna guess what the most controversial game this year was going to be, would you guess Subnautica 2? Probably not. Well, this one goes back a little bit. You see, Subnautica's developers were purchased by a company called Krafton years ago for $500 million. Now, there was also a deal that if the company could earn a certain amount of money and sell a certain amount of copies of games, including the new game Subnautica 2, by the end of 2025, there would be a $225 million bonus to the higher-ups, the lead designers, the heads of the studio, as well as a $25 million bonus to everyone working at that studio. However, we are starting to come up on the end of 2025, and lo and behold, the founders of the studio have now been fired. Now, there are 2 sides to this story. Number one, the developers. The developers have actually started a lawsuit suing Krafton, saying the only reason why they were fired is because Krafton didn't want to pay out that $225 million. So that's the founders side of it. The Krafton side of it is saying that the game wasn't nearly complete enough, and it was because of the founders and the higher-ups weren't fully doing their job properly, and the game was not going to be ready by the end of 2025. So in other words, the bonus wouldn't have gone out anyway. They were frustrated by this, and then they fired the founders. Well, the reporting around this kind of leans in the side of the founders. Jason Schreier, who is a very reputable reporter, said based off of an early playtest, the game was in a great state, much deeper than other games would be during an early playtest. But this is a public lawsuit, so by the end of this, we will know exactly who is on the right or the wrong side. But yeah, would not have put Subnautica 2 drama on the bingo card for the year. Now, Call of Duty was wild this week, and not for the normal reasons. Well, it was because it was full of cartoons. They added a new COD-toons event, in fact, but this is actually one of the better events that we've got this year. It's based off of challenges, as well as having brand new weapon camo rewards for a challenge and for an event for pretty much the first time this year. But no, I mean for the future of Call of Duty. First of all, this week we got announced the date of the worldwide reveal for Call of Duty Black Ops 7, and that is going to be on August 19th at opening night of Gamescom. So most likely what we're going to get there is probably a playthrough of a campaign level and then an announcement of when we're going to be getting multiplayer gameplay, as well as I'm also getting an announcement for Call of Duty Next as well, which also got leaked this week from the Ghost of Hope, and all the leaks that we're going to talk about here are from the Ghost of Hope. It got announced that at the end of September, Call of Duty Next is to be rumored to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now this is a weird one because we think that this game is taking place in 2035. We haven't heard anything about casinos or Nevada. The only connection that we have between this is there is a casino in Avalon, which is in Black Ops 6, which Avalon is where Black Ops 7 is supposedly taking place. So maybe they're going based off of something like this. It also got leaked when the release date of this game is going to be, and based off of that leak, this is not confirmed, that is November the 14th. Now, an interesting thing about that is that would be the latest a Call of Duty game has ever been released. We've had games on November the 13th come out, but never November the 14th. And traditionally, the later games come out, typically the less polished and the less complete they are. However, we don't know that yet. That's just a little bit of speculation. Then we have Call of Duty 2027. Of all things, somehow. We got leaks based off of this game, and it appears as though Sledgehammer Games is going to be the studio developing it. However, it is not going to be what we all expected for that year, which is an Advanced Warfare 2. Based off of the leaks, this game is going to be based in modern times. It's going to be a new IP, a new game created by Sledgehammer, still a Call of Duty, but with a different name, not a Black Ops, not a Modern Warfare. And there's going to be karate chops in it. No, you didn't hear that wrong. Karate chops and karate kicks. I don't know how that part's gonna work. I bet you thought Bungie was already screwed with what went down with Marathon. If you don't know what happened, basically they released a beta for Marathon. No one really enjoyed the look of it or the way it felt or the way that it played. And then there was a huge scandal within Marathon and Bungie that they stole a bunch of their artwork, and people were mad at that. And then the community sentiment went down, and then inevitably the game got delayed till a time that we don't know. We'll find out more in the fall. So Bungie was already down bad, but they had something coming out, and that was around their blockbuster IP of Destiny 2. They had a new expansion come out this week by the name of Destiny 2: The Edge of Fate. Now, typically when Bungie and Destiny 2 release an update, they kind of peak around 300,000 players on Steam. Well, when this one dropped, they couldn't even hit 100,000 players on Steam, which is a huge difference and a really bad sign for this game to come. Now, this could be chalked up to many things. Number one, this game has been out for 10 years, and they already released an expansion called The Final Shape, which I would assume a lot of people would assume the final shape would be the final expansion after 10 years. Also, with what's been going on at Bungie, it is quite possible people just aren't into supporting Bungie or just Destiny 2 anymore. Now, if I'm going to be clear, I truly believe that if Destiny 3 was to be created, the game would probably go gangbusters. But at this point, Destiny 2 is failing, Marathon is failing, and it makes me question what is coming next for Bungie. Now, why does it seem like every single game that comes out just seems to be failing? Because we have Splitgate 2. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when this game came out, I actually really enjoyed the gameplay. I found it a faster arena shooter with a little kind of interesting mechanic of the portals, just like the game, well, Portal. Now, a report came out this week stating that they had a budget for the creators of $400,000. Now, we saw people like Scump, who was working on a big streaming deal, video deal with Splitgate 2, all of a sudden stop making videos and stop streaming it, leading us to believe either he pulled out of the deal or Splitgate 2 pulled out of the deal. And based off of rumbles that I've heard behind the scenes, it's absolutely Splitgate 2 pulling out of that deal, paying people already for the streams that they did, but leaving people actually unpaid for some of the things that they were promised earlier on. Now, just side note, I hear a lot of people saying that $400,000 for creators is a massive number. From numbers that I've heard, for example, Call of Duty, I've heard people getting paid quite literally close to millions of dollars for an individual stream. So that $400,000 thing isn't as crazy as people may believe. Now, the reason for this is Splitgate 2 has now lost 90% of their players. No, you did not hear that wrong. Those are the exact numbers from Steam. Now, that is not on console, and probably the console numbers are a little bit different, but at the same time, that is a mass amount of people. And going off of this, people are saying, well, if they didn't add Battle Royale, I may have been more into this game. I personally think that they put the Battle Royale out too early. It kind of took away from the game as a whole. Other people are saying it's because of their extremely high-priced microtransaction after they dumped on games like Call of Duty for doing the exact same thing. Whether it be one thing or the other, one thing is clear is that this game needs to do something and needs to do something quick. The only problem is I have no idea what that something is. Now, you may be playing Battlefield 6 sooner than you thought. And also, you may be wondering, how do I know it's called Battlefield 6? We were questioning that. We saw that was a Battlefield Labs, and then we were questioning, is it going to be called Battlefield or Battlefield 6 or New Battlefield or whatever it may be? Well, you may actually be playing that game a little bit sooner than you thought, because recently data mined in the Battlefield Labs files was information about an open beta. However, the one thing that we didn't know is when the heck that would be happening. Well, leaked from a guy by the name of Doom49, he tweeted this: "Hello, you guys. Battlefield just sent me this massive Battlefield 6 case in the mail. As you can see, it looks like something that would be sent out to content creators when a big announcement was going to be made, that being an open beta, maybe some sort of reveal, because keep in mind, we don't know when Battlefield 6 is coming out, we don't know when it's being revealed, but we can assume that something is happening very, very soon with what we are seeing here. This also confirms that the game is called Battlefield 6, and with the open beta files being found within Battlefield Labs, something's being cooked up and something is going to be coming very, very soon. My best guess would be some sort of little reveal before Gamescom, and then Gamescom maybe shadow drop an open beta. That would be pretty neat. I still don't think the game's going to get launched until early 2026, but hey, maybe we'll get a little bit of a 2025 surprise. Games that came out this week. First off, we got the big one with Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now, this is kind of your open world platformer that we know from all the way back from Mario 64 going into Mario Galaxy, Donkey Kong 64 being one of my favorite games of all time. Well, this one once again has knocked it out of the park. It's sitting at a 91% on OpenCritic, making it one of the best games to come out this year, potentially making it a Game of the Year contender, potentially giving you just one more reason to buy that Nintendo Switch 2, which, by the way, did sell gangbusters. But it just seems as though Nintendo cannot miss. Whenever they put out one of their first-party titles, you know it's going to be an 80% plus on any sort of review, and they just kill it every single time. So if you're questioning this one, should you get a Switch 2, this might be the deal breaker, or the deal maker specifically for you. Another game that came out this week is called Eric's Home. This one is an interesting one. First of all, it's a stealth-based action-adventure game with really, really good-looking cutscenes. It's sitting at an 81% on OpenCritic. Other reviews, it's sitting at a 9 out of 10 on Steam, a 78 on Metacritic. So overall, really, really good reviews. In this game, you play as Hannah, who is a young orphan whose brother, Herman, has disappeared. She embarks on a quest to uncover the truth behind where he went, where he disappeared to, did someone take him? And honestly, it just looks like a kind of interesting game. If you want to sit down and play a good story, this may be a game for you. So where a lot of things may seem lost, you may be like, how do we have a kidnapping and torture in the esports world? Then we have a massive lawsuit in a game that I thought was like the one game that no one could get angry at. We still got great things coming out. We still got Donkey Kongs. We still got games like Eric's Homes, ones that you don't expect. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to gaming news, there's a wide variety of things going on. And if you want to stay up to date on all of it, the Weekly Reload is the place for you. So make sure you subscribe, your notifications on. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.